Hi, it's Mike, and welcome to CD number 5 in your coaching sales kit. And this, of course, topic is a critical one to all of our success, and that is the topic of lead follow-up. I want to start by saying to you that probably the most difficult part of becoming a great agent is defining each aspect of your business as to how you're going to operate, how you're going to make it work, what the standards are going to be for making that part of your business a successful part of your business. The more you define what you do, the more you really look carefully at how to make it work, the better your business will be. So in lead follow-up, the definition of what a lead is critical. Now, I want you to listen carefully to what I'm going to say next. My job is to extend you, to push you, to maximize what I believe you can accomplish and do. I'm going to make you run as fast as you can run. I'm going to make you do as much as you can do. You're going to back off and do what you're capable of. But I'm going to keep pushing and trying to extend you to make you better than you are today. So when we look at point number 1 in lead follow-up, you'll see why I'm going to try to maximize your performance. Point number 1 says the Mike Ferry definition of a lead. It's a person that will sign a contract within 7 to 10 days of the time you generate or find that lead. A person will sign a contract within 7 to 10 days of the time you found that lead. So then my question for you is, what is your definition of a lead, and how did you determine what that definition actually is? Or do you even have a definition for a lead? See, how can you do lead follow-up if you can't define in your mind what a lead is? Point number 2 is be fanatical about your lead follow-up because they gave you their name and their phone number for a reason. I'm always amazed, and I got to tell you, this fascinates me. I'll say to an agent, how many leads do you have? Well, I've got 8. And when's the last time you talked to them? Well, I haven't talked to some of them for quite a long time. Wait a minute. How did you get that lead? Well, I met him at a store. I met him at a social function. I was out prospecting. Wait a minute. Somebody said to you that the thing about buying or selling, and they gave you their name and number, and you never followed up? No, I got busy. I didn't have a chance. Man, I want to smack you right in the head. For goodness sakes, you have to become a fanatic in this one part of the sales process, lead follow-up, because they gave you their name and number for a reason, and that, of course, is to either buy or sell real estate. Point number 3, 70% of your appointments will always come from lead follow-up, not from your first contact with these people. Most appointments come because the agent is great at lead follow-up. And if you become great at lead follow-up, which means you have the courage of your convictions because you say you're the best agent for that person, to exercise that courage and call them back and say, when can we get together? But if you don't have the courage of your convictions, you won't call them back, and you will not get the appointments that you should get. Here's a quote for you for point number 4. If I'm not getting a substantial amount of my business from lead follow-up, I'm not doing a good job on lead follow-up. And that was a quote from yours truly, Mike Ferry, from 1985 when I was doing a seminar. I said to this group, if you're not getting a good portion of your business from lead follow-up, you're not doing a good job on lead follow-up. And of course, the question then is, what is a good job on lead follow-up? It starts with defining, the definition of a lead. If you say to yourself, well, if I get a lead today and I call them and do something within the next year, I'm okay. If you get a lead today, do you actually think they're going to remember you 3, 6, 9 months from now? The answer is no. You're getting your business from lead follow-up. Don't let that ever pass you by. And then, of course, I wrote point number 5, which came from one of our great clients, Ron Wexler, back in Chicago, where he said the most important part of a good lead follow-up program is a large trash can near your desk. You have to accept the fact that you will cycle and throw a large number of your leads away to achieve the goals you've set. Because they said they want to buy or sell doesn't mean they will. And your ability to follow up and to qualify, find out their motivation, becomes a critical part of the process. Point number 6, we have to learn to throw away leads because the better we become at building our business, the fewer the leads we actually need. Isn't it interesting how so many salespeople carry stacks and stacks of leads around forever. Our very, very, very first one-on-one coaching client was, I think it was May of 1996, I believe, is when this young lady was our first one-on-one coaching client, Diane Mazzocco. And I remember plain as day, in my very first conversation with Diane, I said, how many leads do you have right now? Listen to what her answer was. She said she had 490 plus leads. I looked at her and I said, how can you do 13 or 14 transactions a year with 490 leads? That's impossible. Well, what she had done, like most agents, she really had never taken the time to define what a lead actually is. What she had done is she'd accumulated for 3, 6, 9 months all the expireds in the marketplace, had them all stacked up around her desk, and in her mind thought those were leads. Okay? I said to her on my very first call with her, throw 90% of them away and start over. Well, she was devastated. She was shocked. But I'm going to tell you right now, are all the leads you have any good? Are they really valid? Or are you just holding on to them because you think they create security for you? Number 7, each week take a careful look at the total number of leads you have. See how many will actually sign a contract in the next 7 days. If they won't sign a contract the next 7 to 10 days, make a decision as to what you're going to do with them. Make a decision. Which ties into point number 8. Now listen carefully. 7 and 8 together. Since you have 7 to 10 days to convert a lead to an appointment, don't be afraid to be a little more aggressive when you talk to these people. Mary, you gave me your name. I really want to prove to you that if you choose to list with me, that I'm the most aggressive agent you're going to find to list your home. And I want to prove it by saying to you again right now, what day this week can we get together and get your home listed and sold? Be aggressive. Buyers and sellers want to deal with people that are aggressive. They're tired of dealing with all the wimps and wimpettes in this industry, the people that make all the promises and never do anything. Be an aggressive agent. Watch point number 9. Since most agents have too many leads, and the disadvantages of having too many leads are the following. First, of course, bad leads always hide the good ones from you, which they do. Second, if most of our leads are not great ones, the urgency for lead follow-up is diminished. Third, it's a huge waste of time to be tracking and calling people on a regular basis who are not going to be doing anything in the near future. And then D, remember, you always get what you're looking for. Either you're prospecting to get a lead or you're prospecting to get an appointment. If your job is to prospect to get an appointment, a lead is just a temporary part of the sales process. Point number 10, one of the fears that we have when doing lead follow-up is specifically asking for a person's motivation, because they may or may not be motivated, and if they're not motivated, then we have to start all over again because we know we don't have a real lead. Guys and gals, a lead is a piece of paper. A lead is a name typed into a computer. What you're looking for is a motivated person that has to or wants to do something, whether it be buy or sell now. If we don't have the courage to ask for the motivation, there's a very, very rare chance that we're ever going to do anything substantially big in terms of production in this business. Obviously, point number 11 then becomes a critical one. If we remember what our job is as an agent, it's A, to generate leads, B, convert those leads to appointments, and C, go on appointments faster. That's our job. Generate leads, convert leads, and go on appointments. See, the only way we can ever get to substantial productivity is to be generating leads every day, converting those leads to appointments, and then going on appointments all the time. So my question for you then is, which of these are your strengths and which are your weaknesses that you have to perfect? Point number 13. Point number 12. Remember that lead follow-up is like prospecting. It's a numbers game. Let's go back to my quote from Ron Wexler earlier in this CD. Have a large trash can next to your desk because you'll throw a lot of leads away. You've got to get over the fact that you're there to, accumulate a lot of leads. Your job is to get a lead, to convert it, and go on appointment. So therefore, like prospecting, it becomes a pure and simple numbers game. Number 13, leads have no actual value. Now think about what I said. Leads, technically, have no actual value. appointments and contracts have value. So the objective is to turn the lead into appointment ASAP or get rid of them as quickly as you can. Since leads have no value, the faster you convert them, the better chance you have. Number 14, always look at the following question carefully. Is my mindset about managing leads, or is my mindset about going on appointments? Well, Mike, now you've brought the same thought up 3 or 4 times in a row. Come on, move on. Why do you keep bringing the same thing up? Because unfortunately, our industry is not a sales industry. Our industry is a very strange industry in the fact that we don't teach the specifics of our job as well as we should. So look, is it my mindset of managing a lead, or is it my mindset of going on appointments? Because if my mindset is managing a lead, we're never going to go on the number of appointments we want to go on. Number 15, the primary purpose of our lead follow-up is to keep reselling the individual on the appointment, not to just keep building rapport. Hi, Mary, how are you? Haven't talked to you in a couple days. You and Helen, the kids okay? Is the puppy fine? Gosh, I hope everything's okay for you guys. And I was kind of wondering, is there any chance we could get together? Come on, give me a break here, okay? Your job, when you get a lead, is to get an appointment. So let's not worry about the rapport, let's worry about the appointment. Point 16, since we all have the same leads, let me repeat this. Since we all have the same leads, thinking they're going to get better with age makes no sense. I'll repeat this one. Since we all have the same leads. We all have the same leads. In your town, the buyers and sellers are always working with a variety of agents. If we think they're going to get better with time and over age makes no sense because somebody is going to be aggressive, we want it to be you, to go after that lead and turn it into an appointment. Number 17, leads do not represent security. They're names on a piece of paper that need to be called. Diane Mazzocco, back in 1996, actually believed that because she had 490 past expireds, that she had some security. There's no security on a piece of paper or on a name on the computer. The security comes with the appointment, the confidence to go out and do that appointment at a high level and get a contract signed. So with that being said, let's go to point 18. Too many people overprotect their leads by putting them into computers and elaborate database systems rather than calling them every day. Why would you bother to go through all that exercise? Since we know that only a small percentage of the leads you have are ever going to convert. I'll give you an example. I was doing a seminar in Portland, Oregon. This was 10, 15 years ago. And I was talking about lead follow-up to the group. And I gave them an assignment, and the assignment was, okay, when you get home tonight, call every lead you have and ask for an appointment. I don't care when you got the lead, where you got the lead from, call every lead you have and ask for an appointment. That's your assignment. See you tomorrow morning. So the next day I said to the audience, well, how many called their leads? And of course most put their hands up. And one lady stood up and she goes, I have to tell you what happened last night to me. I said, okay, what happened to you? And then she looked across from me and she said, Bob, stand up. And this guy stood up kind of sheepishly. His face got red. She said, 8 or 9 years ago, my husband and I were transferred here to Portland with his job. We went out and we looked at a bunch of open houses to try to buy a house. And we gave our names and numbers to a lot of agents. Last night, and she pointed across the room, Bob called me and said the following. Hi, Mary, this is Bob. I met you at an open house. Are you still thinking of buying a home? And then she smiled and said, I gave Bob my name and number 9 years ago. And then she smiled and said, Bob, what have you been waiting for? Here's the worst part. They've been working for the last 8 years in the same office in real estate. He's been holding onto a lead that was completely bogus for 8 years with the name of a person who sat next to him in the office. We may be overprotecting our leads. Number 19, our goal is to call every lead at the exact moment they're thinking about buying or selling a home. The more leads I have choking my system, the less chance I have of calling them at the right moment. Interesting. I'll talk to a person doing 100 deals a year. How many leads do you have right now? 3. I'll talk to a person doing 3 deals a year. How many leads do you have right now? 30. That didn't even make sense, does it? Because see, a person doing 50, 7,500 deals a year, they're processing those leads all the time. They're only going to have a couple of leads because they're aiming to get an appointment that day to get a contract signed. But a person doing 3 deals a year is carrying around a stack full of leads, and they can never call the people at the right time because they have too many leads to call. Point number 20, we have to remove this thought from our head. I can take an unmotivated person and through long-term follow-up make them motivated. Boy, I tell you, this is really poor business thinking, and it's really a big ego that has nothing to back it up. Guys and gals, if you aren't motivated, there's nothing I can do to motivate you. Motivation is an internal thing, not external. It's all internal. Motivation, motive to action. You have to have a motive, a goal, and you have to take action to achieve it. If you're talking to a seller that is non-motivated, doesn't have any interest in doing anything, it doesn't matter how often you talk to them, they're not going to suddenly change their mind. Point number 21. Remember, if you close 100 transactions a year, you only need 150 to 200 leads in the course of a year. See, once you get good at this process of lead follow-up, once you become great at your prospecting and lead follow-up and pre-qualifying and presentations, you're going to discover you need way less needs than you ever thought you needed. Point 22, keep your lead cards with you at all times and keep calling them until you get an appointment because other people have your leads also. Point 23, do your lead follow-up right after your prospecting is completed because your mindset is real strong at that point. See, if you do your prospecting, let's say from 9 to 10, do your lead follow-up at 10 o'clock. If you do your prospecting from, say, 8:30 to 11:30, do your lead follow-up at 11:30. Always do it when your mind is at the highest level of strength. And of course, point number 24, prospecting without good lead follow-up is a complete waste of time and energy. You might as well make that your mantra. If I'm going to work so hard to build my business and not follow up on the leads I have, I'm not really working on building my business. Point number 26, I really want you to, point number 25, I want you to really think about this carefully. Let your prospects know, tell them, be honest, that you're going to be very aggressive to demonstrate the type of service that you offer. See, you need to let your prospects know, hey, listen, you give me your name and number, I'm going to push real hard now to get an appointment to help you achieve the goals you've set. Well, I don't want you to be too aggressive. Wait a minute. My job is to be aggressive to get your home sold. My job is to be aggressive to find you the home you want. Let them know you're going to be aggressive because that's part of the role of being a great salesperson. And then point 26, remember this question. Have we lost more business because we were over-aggressive or under-aggressive in our lead follow-up? In essence, call more than you should instead of calling less than you should. Point 27, your lead follow-up calls are not contacts to be made and used towards your prospecting goals. Don't get involved in that. Prospecting is one issue. Lead follow-up is a completely separate issue. And our last point on lead follow-up, consider using the Mike Ferry lead follow-up system. It's very complicated. It's a hard one to use, but I think you can pull it off. A stack of 100 3x5 cards. And then on each 3x5 card, put the name, address, and phone number, email address, etc. on that card. And then in the right-hand corner of the card, put is it B for buyer, S for seller, so you know which one you're talking to. And then at the bottom of the card, put the date you acquired the lead, and next to it, write the date you're willing to throw it away. Are you willing to keep the lead for 5 days, 7 days, 30 days, 60 days? Put that on the card so you'll know exactly the time frame you're working that lead on. And then the third part of my lead follow-up is call them and ask them 2 questions. First, do you still have to buy or sell a home? And second, can we set an appointment at this moment to get that job done for you? Guys and gals, a lot of you work real hard at your lead follow-up and your prospecting. And you're not getting the results you want for only one reason. You're not setting standards that are forcing you to work hard. Let's set higher standards. Let's set stronger standards. Let's call every lead we have today and ask for an appointment and go generate a new lead for tomorrow. I'll look forward to talking to you in a few minutes on our next CD.